Hi everybody, welcome to my channel for the last battle report of ETC 2021 Novi Sad. We are playing against France. They are just above us. Before this battle, we know that we need to win like something like 90 to secure the third spot, and if we manage a cap, maybe second spot. So we know that we are going aggressive in this round. We know most of the players because, yeah, I mean, we are neighbor countries, so we play quite often against each other in local tournaments, so we know most of them, and yeah, we are feeling confident before this round. We are thinking that with the pairing, how things went, that we have the opportunity, I think, to make a big win here. So we see how that goes. I get paired up against Pendy, who was the Empire of Sonnstahl player from France. This is my list, and this is my opponent's list. So basically a very long list with a ton of tools. A very, how can I say, like, yeah, special Empire list. Basically he played double master, one Cosmo was Pyro, so basically to make sure he can deal easily with the very large unit. I think he was expecting to be able to play against the new Vermin Swarm, also against elves and stuff like that. I think he can do a ton of damage with double master. He has 2 binding scroll, an additional channel. Then he has a prelate as general who has MR2, an Inquisitor with 5 attack strength 5, and yeah, he has multiple wound D3, which is kind of really good against me, and still pretty cheap, less than 300 points. A BSB, an Artificer, 2 units of heavy infantry in core, 3 units of state militia, 1 electoral cavalry, 12 crossbow, 3x5 raiders, and the usual combination of cannon and steam tank. So I think, yeah, the usual powerful stuff from Empire are here, shooting wise, and then he has basically a ton of little stuff that don't cost really much. If you see, he can sacrifice pretty much everything. I mean, raiders, state militia, he can give you things to eat during the whole battle and focus where you want to. So you need to be really careful before facing such a list, because if you go in the middle of the board and he just gave you some state militia and then shoots you around, these guys, they are really surprisingly good. Huh? They have bows, they have pistols, so they can do a ton of damage with range damage. The same goes for raiders, so yeah, careful. We are playing Breakthrough and Marching Column. Love to play Marching Column. It's always funny. I hear a lot of people complaining about Marching Column. They are like, oh, it's difficult, I don't know. They don't like to play it. I love it. I think it's very strategic one. I think you really need to know in advance what you're going to do and what you're expecting from your opponent. So really interesting. And yeah, below you have the spell selection. I took my usual spell selection. I think most of the time it was like that, 1, 2, 5, 6. Basically the good combination against War Machine from Swarm of Insect and Totemic Summon, and also then enough buff for close combat between Rod of Battle, Break the Spirit, and then +1 Resilience of Strengths. Matchup analysis. So he has a ton of units, and considering the fact that we play Breakthrough, I could fight a portion of the army. I don't need to go in the middle of the board like I could have to do if we are playing like all the ground. So that's good for me, because I can choose to fight a portion of the army that I want to fight and basically ignore the rest. He's not mobile that much, he hasn't much mobility, meaning if I'm able to pick part of the army, he will struggle to bring the rest, I think. Has a lot of French damage. It's more or less hidden. If you check the list, you're like, oh yeah, it's fine, couple of raiders, they don't shoot far, and then the cannon, okay. But I mean, all these magic missiles, plus the militia shooting, plus the cannon, plus the raiders, it's a lot. Everything together, I mean, it's a lot, and I have to be careful and use train to my advantage. Close combat wise, I mean, mostly Inquisitor. He has a speed potion, meaning even with my freezing aura, he go before me, so I need to be careful if I want to engage him. And yeah, obviously the steam tank is never a piece that it's easy to take down. He has only 4 scoring units, same number as me, that are relatively slow. Only the cavalry are fast, but the rest relatively slow, so it's up to me to try to stop the advance, slow down some of the units, and maybe grab some win on secondary. But basically with my game plan, I knew that it will be difficult to stop him from breakthrough. It's more I want to pick some units, get a small advantage, and have a number that is slightly above my estimation, but try to secure something around that. I know that my match is not the kind of match where you want to take a lot of risk, because it can go either way, depending on how the range damage goes. And then there is no way back. When you commit in this kind of game, I mean, then it's up to the dice and stuff to decide who's going to win. So I didn't want that. I wanted control. I wanted to secure the estimation that I brought in our pairing software, and therefore I won't take unnecessary risk in this game. So unfortunately I forgot to take a deployment picture, but it's pretty easily to figure out how that went. So we have two impassable on the map that form kind of breakthrough corridor where your opponent will struggle to defend them. Then you have a water train, ruin in the middle, a field, a forest, and a hill. I want the roll for side, and I immediately figure out I have really here the opportunity to use train to my advantage. Between the hill, the field, the forest, and the fact that it's a zone very hard for him to defend, I figured out if I deploy strongly on the right, I mean, there is no way he's going to deploy everything in this corner and face me with an impassable in the middle, taking into account the fact that my mercenaries can use the hill as a cover in their advance, and then if they are in combat full plus the Death Star, I mean, there is no way he can overcome that. So I was feeling pretty confident that if I deploy strong on the right, there is no way he can beat me on the right flank. So that was a bit my game plan. I decided to deploy first, so when I saw the first drop here being like 5 raiders, I knew that this part of the board will be completely empty. So that's, yeah, confirmed that my game plan was I think that's the game plan I'm going to pick. So I started with a scoring unit, then the dog, and another scoring unit, and he dropped the rest. So basically we have like the other cavalry here, we have a scoring unit here, we have militia, 2 times raider, another raider, militia, crossbow, steam tank, a big unit of halberd with all characters, and the second unit, the smaller one, is here, and we have here the cannon in the back with artificer within 6. And my counter deployment, so I use the forest to my advantage to make sure. First of all, I made sure that the raider cannot go out of arc. There is no sweet spot where he can land and then shoot me, harass me during the whole game, because I just can't allow that. I mean, that would be a nightmare. So I made sure he cannot move out of arc with his between the vanguard and the movement turn 1. Then my trapper land on the hill to put a token. Then they move here hidden. And the rest of my deployment is basically Bruiser Star here. Then we have the mercenaries with Great Khan and Khan, Frosty in the back, Cannon here in the forest. Then we have the dog and the Yetis here up to the left, using the cover, using the BSB range. But in this type of game, that's definitely the type of game that Yeti don't like that much. There is too much range damage for them, and they need to be really careful, stay within the bubble. I couldn't use them, basically putting them, for example, on the left and try to push. I mean, that's too dangerous. If I get a couple of shots, I can panic off the board easily. So I think the Yetis here have limited freedom, so to say. Okay, let's move on to his turn 1. So basically, he moves forward with most of the stuff, mainly with the raiders. He did 1 wound to my Yetis with a fireball, and then misfires with the steam tank, did 1 wound to him. And with the cannon, he decided to shoot at my mercenaries veteran and did 2 wounds to them. So I know already that he's going to target them, which makes sense. He couldn't see my cannon because he's hidden behind them. And he could have shot my Frosty, but preferred to shoot at mercenaries, which I think make totally sense. It was funny because it's typically the type of game where my opponent tried some mind games early on by saying, oh yeah, Frost Mammoth is really strong in this matchup, I need to shoot him down, blah blah blah, all that stuff. And you need as an opponent to, yeah, that made me smile because I knew exactly where he was trying to mess up with me and bring me some false information, making like I'm helping you for your choices, but try to influence my decision-making process. And yeah, I noticed that at the beginning and just found that funny, and I didn't take into account what he was saying to make my decisions. yeah, let's move on to I think between shooting, he didn't do much, and yeah, magic, I told you already. Yeah, shooting, he did just the 2 wounds to my mercenaries, and a couple of other wounds. Yeah, I also I forgot to tell you about that during deployment, to minimize what he could do. So I made sure with the range that basically everything is within cover or out of range. I tried to minimize as much as I could what he could do with the militia. It's not that much a problem to sometimes, you don't need always to deploy on the starting line. Sometimes you can drop a little bit down, then it's just important to not stay in the corner but to go out, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm pushing my Death Star Max, using them to put another trap. He lost a Raider by trying to neutralize my trap, so I put another one down and I go in front of them to throw them some throwing weapon, and yeah, creating a bait situation where I have the Death Star and the mercenaries behind. My mercenaries block, move also forward, try to get some shots at his main unit. These guys are careful, I need to pay attention what he can do. I make sure I cover all the angles, and the Frosty stays in the forest for the moment. Don't want to give him any +1 to hit things. The cannon fight an angle against his steam tank and cannon, that's the idea. Mostly I want to target the steam tank because it's a strong piece in the matchup, and if I can get rid of him, I think it opens up a lot of possibilities for me. And Yetis, they stay within the forest, within 12 of general, 18 of BSP. No risk here. I use a Binding Scroll against my Totemic Summon. With Swarm of Insect, I'm able to get 2 wounds off the cannon, which I'm happy with. The rest is just dispelled. With shooting, I kill like one of the Raiders and a couple of guys in the unit, I think 3 basically, and my cannon didn't hit this turn. His turn 2. So he pushes block forward, try to target me, uses a Raider block as a chaff piece, and here decided to charge my chaffing trappers. I just fled, I had a flea pass to go over everybody. They don't make me check panic because they are insignificant, and with a failed charge, basically it's nice for me because yeah, he couldn't redirect into anything juicy because I protected the flank with the Death Star, and then if he goes in the Death Star it's a free pivot for me, so he cannot do that. So he just fail charge and then use another unit to chaff me. The militia stays behind the hill. What else can I tell you? The cavalry stays here for the moment. Steam tank decide not to move to not get any penalty, and the rest just shuffles around a little bit. I cannot really go with the Yetis. You could say to me, yeah, you can go with the Yetis, try to harm them, but it's impossible because he has the character who is like agility 9 or something that goes before me with a lot of attack, multiple wound, D3, and it would just kill too many Yetis. I wouldn't achieve anything. I thought about it, like, can I go in, try to murder some characters, but yeah, definitely it's not a good plan, at least not so soon. He uses yeah, the Raiders, they go over the hill again to neutralize the trap. He lost like 1 guy here, but nothing too bad. Magic, he did 2d6 strength 4 against my Yetis, did kill, I think, a couple of wounds to Yetis, I don't remember exactly how much. Then he cast the automatic health point against my cannon. I had to let that go, and then with the shots from the steam tank and the cannon, he kills my cannon. So yeah, that's unfortunate, but that can happen. I could have maybe placed my cannon slightly better to avoid that. I don't know. I mean, cannon is going to kill something at some point. My turn 2. So yeah, he killed like 4 wounds to the Yetis. I charge. So that was interesting because I was able with my Death Star to wheel and touch this unit before that one, meaning the charge against this unit, they can close the door, the charge is possible. He decided to flee that charge, and I found that for me an interesting opening because he basically fled off that unit, and that's a 9 no reroll panic check. If he misses that, I mean, that's huge because this unit is most likely off the board, and then that's the fastest scoring unit he has. If he loses that one, I think his breakthrough is in big danger. So I like that opening. I took the charge, he fled over them, they passed the 9, unfortunately for me, and then I redirect the charge against that unit. That way he would flee like that and maybe block his own unit, opening some possibilities for me. So I thought that that's kind of interesting, and he decided to hold, obviously. So yeah, the Raider are back here. The rest, they just shuffle around. I back them closer to my unit. The Frosty has a pass to charge. If he wants really to push with that unit, that's impossible because of the number of units that I have around. And basically that's it. In the magic phase, he used the second binding scroll against my totemic summon, but I still have my Keen Eaters that come on the board. What did I do in the magic? Yeah, I cast a Break the Spirit. I don't remember exactly where, to be honest with you. And then with close combat, I one-shot these guys. I could have overrun, but you don't know where you end up, and then you open yourself to a possible flank charge. That's way too risky. The overrun was kind of long enough for me to decide not to go, and still, I mean, he has counter charge options, so that wasn't interesting. So I just cleaned that piece, which is nice. His turn 3, he didn't rally the Raiders, they go off the board, which was a very positive surprise. Already killed two Raider units, which is nice. Steam Tank just move with the main unit. They form a combination that is very hard to take down, because if I try something, he can just absorb and then counter charge with stuff. So that's way too dangerous for me. He moves the cannon forward, moves these guys to chaff the Keen Eater, and moves around to shoot at me. So no cannon shot this turn. He turns around with the big block and puts the Pyro Mage here to cast spell at my Keen Eater. So yeah, he uses everything to really neutralize the Keen Eater, which makes sense because it's worth a good amount of point. These guys, they just move behind the hill. I have a possible charge with them, but he can always flee first of all. I don't want to fail charge. And then even if I get here, it has too many counters, so I wouldn't like the position. In his magic phase, he got D6 against Keen Eater, and then Flaming Sword on some shooting unit, and basically killed just the Keen Eater with that. My turn 3, I put the Death Star on the hill to, yeah, not allow him to be hidden behind the hill anymore. I want to put some pressure. These guys cover my flank. Since he turned around these guys to go that way to try to break through, I know I have really a free map here to score. These guys, they turn around to add some further shot. The rest didn't move much. In the magic phase, I got Chilling Hole on, and then +1 resilience. I don't remember if it was the Yetis or the mercenaries, to be honest with you. And I also got Totemic Summon, so very nice magic phase. I get Totemic Summon off here, and with the breast weapon I kill the cannon. So an amazing magic phase. This time with between the Frosty that didn't move and these guys, I'm able to kill 6 of the infantry, which is nice because I already killed like 10. So that's kind of nice. And yeah, that's it. So no cannon anymore, which is nice. List turn 4. So he moves a bit back from my Totemic Summon and is ready to shoot with everything. The mage continue to look at him, try to deal with me. The rest didn't move much, he just marched this block, but I mean, I have no good opportunities. He used this unit to chaff me, meaning this unit cannot charge them. The Yetis are really far away, and even if they make the long charge, he has counter charge from the Inquisitor guy, so no opening here. And basically use a militia to chaff me, not to give me any opening, and he will do a ton of shots with them against my mercenaries. I think I put +1 resilience here, should have put on mercenaries. Yeah, didn't see really. I think I lacked a little bit experience against this list. And here you see, if you know better the matchup, maybe you protect slightly better sometimes with small choices such as this one, where to put +1 resilience. I mean, the Yetis taking another wounds, a couple of wounds, not as much important as protecting the mercenaries. But I just felt at this point of time, oh, I don't have many Yetis left, they are still almost full, let's do that. But as you will see, these guys can do a ton of damage against me. So I learned that. In the magic phase, he did a D6. Yeah, basically, I think he just killed the Totemic Summon with everything blast. He did also 2d6 against mercenaries and did 3 wounds. And then with the pistol shots, he did 6 wounds to mercenaries. So I lost 3 full mercenaries, which is half of the unit, so it's really a lot. So I wasn't ready for that, and like I said, with +1 resilience on them, that's completely different story. So yeah, little mistake here. My turn. I decided to charge only with the Yetis, checking my flee pass. Didn't want to come too close to his tank. I could have charged with the Death Star possibly to make sure I deal with them and Is the Stank going to come alone against Death Star? I don't think so. So I think I should have taken this charge too. But yeah, I took the Yetis in the flank. I like the fact that he couldn't stand and shoot. Only 2 guys in contact, won't do much damage. I think why I didn't charge with the Death Star was the fact that I wanted to put all the characters in this main unit and move with this guy away. So I moved the mercenaries away, form a new Death Star, and try to go for the breakthrough slowly. This guy didn't move much, will continue to shoot, don't need him right now. In the magic phase, I got +1 resilience on the Yetis. I got another totemic summon like here that uses the breast weapon against them. They flee over them, ended up like here. And this unit with the wizard failed the 9 rollable. Yeah, I mean at some point if you force so many panic check and stuff, they are going to fail some check. And they fail and they end up here because the totemic summon is right here and it's the closest unit. So they flee up to here in the front of the Frosty. So that was a pleasant surprise for the Frost Mammoth. Let's go with turn 5. He rallied these guys on a 9 with no reroll. The rest continue to move towards the breakthrough. These guys didn't rally, continue to flee. The Yetis just reformed that way. And yeah, the opening now for him is the fact that the Pyro Mage is here and can cast spell at these 2 guys that have no character to help them, no magical resistance, nothing. And obviously I didn't expect the Pyro Mage to be so close to these guys. So yeah, that's it. In the magic phase, what did he do? Binding Scroll, Ice and Fire is still with... I dispelled 2d6 strength 4, but between the shots and I think another d6 maybe, he did total 5 wounds to them. So I have only 1 wound left on the champion and there is 1 more turn to go. So we'll see if they survive. Yeah, my turn 5. Frosty charged them. They passed the terror check on the 9. He had also put Flaming Sword here and Altered Sight on them. So yeah, that was good. I just make sure I can break through here. No risk, even if they rally, that they cannot block me. So just make sure I get my breakthrough. So I go that way. This guy moved 12, more than 6 to the big unit to avoid any check. This guy just avoid any damage by being behind the hill from shooting mostly to get good cover. And let me check again the magic phase if I have anything special here, but I don't think so. I did the break the spirit against them in close combat, basically just to make sure if I don't kill them, if they flee far enough, they just get some additional DTs, and also it's harder for them to hit me. Yeah, I killed them, pursue, catch, so they are not here anymore, but I took a couple of wounds back, like 3 wounds in total because of Flaming Sword, so at least break the spirit helped me to protect them, but I got that good chunk of points. 3 unit breakthrough. The rest, he was able to get the mage here and have a line of sight against him. Here I think I could have done better to protect this guy, to not give him a line of sight, put the Yetis slightly on the hill. There are multiple options to protect this guy much better, I think. So yeah, I was a bit disappointing and basically got a spell off to kill the mercenaries, and yeah, that was it. And my turn 6, I got the breakthrough, take the BSB out, shoot at him, doesn't kill him, and here with I lost another wound due to some range damage, so with 2 wounds left, there was nothing else to do with the Frosty. It's too risky to go against them and lose. I think the multiple wound guy was here, so yeah, it was too risky for me to try to go against him. So yeah, that was the end of the game. I just tried to put 2 shots against this unit, tried to force panic check, also tried totemic summon to try to press at him to force another panic check, but basically dispel that, and I sent my totemic summon against that unit to claim some additional points, but unfortunately for me, he ult due to a pretty low check. I think they have like a low leadership, like 7 or maybe even less, and I won by like 2. So yeah, he ult to a very low check, and that would have given me an additional number of points that would have been welcome, because if you add up everything, it was an 11 to 9. I think with the additional militia I get to 12. But yeah, that was it more or less. So it took from me cannon, full mercenaries, keen eater, trappers, I took all the raiders, double militia, cannon, and the wizard. So post-game analysis, I think, yeah, in this matchup the player who start can be slightly more aggressive, start to kill stuff before the opponent, limit the range damage and stuff. So I think here it made sense. I think my use of the map was kind of optimal. I think I was able to use all the piece of terrain to my advantage and limit the part of the army that I wanted to fight. So I think I followed the game plan. Yetis, I'm a bit disappointed by my deployment. I think they didn't really achieve what I wanted them to do, meaning block the left part of the map or the central part of the map. By putting them on the right part of the map, I could have really pushed with the Yetis up to the top and really make sure that they can do something later on and take some points. They would have much more freedom, and I mean the mercenaries with the Frosty together are enough to make sure his main unit won't go in combat, basically. So yeah, I think the deployment of the Yeti was slightly missed. Stopping his breakthrough could have been possible by planning better. I think I had some options to maybe do slightly better. Yeah, I didn't really achieve what I wanted to do. If you check turn 5, I have some charge option with the Yetis, but still is going to be steadfast. He can countercharge with the Inquisitor and then combat reform at his turn 6 and then score at the end of the game, I think, or combat reform at my turn 5. Yeah, I don't know, but he still had the possibility to be in the breakthrough zone and I would have just lost the Yetis. So I think overall I had some openings, but I just took the safe approach. I had my estimation. I heard that in the other table it was going well, so for me no reason to take additional risk. I just, yeah, a bit disappointed about the way I deployed Yetis and my exit of the mercenaries. Could have protected them better, stop the line of sight, make sure that if he does that I can kill the level 4 in return. I had many options to avoid that. Happy about, you can say that my opponent, and he was saying that himself, was unlucky, and yeah, I agree. I mean, if you fail non-rerollable, it's unlucky, but at some point, if you count the amount of checks, it's like 3 or 4, 9 with no reroll, and like 5 non-rerollable. All of that together, you're going to fail one at some point, and that paid off. I was lucky enough for him to fail one that mattered really, because there was a big wizard in it. But at least he was able to cripple my mercenaries while sacrificing somehow the big wizard. So still he was able to take advantage from the situation and still help to get the mercenaries points. So it wasn't only a point lost for him due to this bad roll. And yeah, confirmation, Yetis against so much range damage, that's not their type of game. They need a part of the map where they have the freedom to express themselves without too much range damage that can cripple them. So here we saw it was impossible for the Yetis to move further to the left. I mean, I would have panicked after a couple of checks. So definitely to the right, I think there was less pressure for them to be hurt, and I could have done something slightly better with them on the right. I think, especially late in the game, on the right side of the Death Star, maybe try to be able to be more aggressive with them. And also, the fact that I lost the mercenaries, I needed to secure the breakthrough with my Death Star, meant that I wasn't able to push turn 5 with the Death Star to get a turn 6 charge that helped me get another unit. So that was my bad play with mercenaries, cost me not only the points of mercenaries, but cost also me the turn 6 charge that could have got me at least half a unit that would have fled the charge or something like that. So yeah, a bit disappointing. But still the result overall was good and somehow expected, I think. We got the cap we wanted, some strong performance from Andy, also Dim and Paul especially, and also Titi here. That was an early win. So yeah, we got the points we wanted. We only took 2 small defeats, which were kind of expected when you see the estimation. And then we were able to get these big wins that together get us the cap. So really happy. As you can see, in our point of view, we had some neutral matchups. This one was very unstable, and basically the opponent tried to go for it and it backfired for him. This one was already very positive and turned out to be a slightly bigger win than expected. This one slightly positive, went to a 10. This one was kind of drawish, but also I think some risk taken by the dwarf opponent and turned out to be very positive for us. And here, yeah, just a fight between orc and goblins, and here Andy played a high level game and got to a 19. So very nice. We ended up second, as you probably know, after this battle, so we were really happy about the result. It was a strong hand. Basically we ended up with 3 cap on the 3 last round, so that was really good for us. And I will talk a bit more about my list, and also a little bit about the rounds, how it went during the conclusion video, as you are used to on my channel. Thanks a lot guys for following me, thanks for the comments, feedbacks. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done it yet. If you don't have an account, just create a YouTube account. You will see it's very nice to follow Battle Report, because then you just get a news, an email, something when there is a new Battle Report release. So I think it's kind of nice. So if you don't have one yet, just create an account. It's done in 2 clicks, and then you can follow your favorite Battle Reports. Thanks a lot guys, and talk to you soon on my channel. Bye bye.